Yeah, I believe so. Am I shared?
As is our custom.
Uh, yeah, one of the things that struck me that was 30 34 years ago. But obviously, I got that frisbee at APL conference, and let me go and actually put down just as a quick reminder, F1 goes and gives you the keys, and mainly F11 puts down a timestamp, and F6 goes and executes something in the language that the whole system is written in. So if I put down a timestamp and I put down an asterisk after it, I have a few words that will go and suck those bracket. Well, I've got a word named bracket. I
And
tell
you
it to
haven't
get it.
introduced yourself yet, Bob. Who are you?
Pardon?
You haven't introduced yourself or told
Ah,
us
okay.
so
Uh,
now
I'm
we believe you're the best.
Bob Armstrong.
So I need to introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Let me just go. One of the things is CoSy's just my notebook for putting down my thoughts, but they can be executable math, or they can be executable anything. I mean, they're fourth. It executes directly in fourth. So you can either use Python or you could use this, and this is an APL, an array language. But actually, this was a random thought, and I just never erased it. But oh, and F8 goes and starts the cursor, the page under the cursor. And most of what I've done recently, in rather than going through this development interface of CoSy, and a bunch of thoughts there, and I've made thoughts on the talks during the day. But to just be succinct, I've been updating the front end of CoSy, rather than making a newsletter, actually. But there's an awful lot. I've seen actually there are more modern websites I see that just do these endless scrolls like this. But I just wanted to scroll down. If you come down here to the middle, it's got a lot of stuff to the path to now and so forth. I'll get back to that. But one of the things is there's also a search thing so you can search for anything, like Wordle, for instance. But I also, because I can, I've got the ability to do the math on my fingertips. I've gotten involved in uh, the physics of global temperature, and there's going to be more on that score fairly soon. But I got to say, I think actually in a sense that Frisbee indicates what a center of computer advancement, and a lot of other things that Stanford has been. This truly has been an exceptional day of talks that need significant follow up, and that's one reason why I like to go and keep my notes. Um, but to hit major points, and I'm thinking first I'll go through some of my notes here. And one of the points is that the target is individuals, and something recently, there's this exponential impact. Well, the entrepreneurial center created by a guy named Vance Brown down in the Springs. I'm up Ute Pass from Colorado Springs, but I've been getting down to go and get retail among humans because they're close to the market. Um, and this is the thing, but it's again people who can follow a conversation like this. But oh, I don't know what that point. Yeah, yeah. One of the things is actually a couple of the women down there that I've met that are, and I sort of consider my ultimate market, the ultimate market for CoSy is female entrepreneurs. Um, and I'll click. Uh, Might as well do it now. I was going to get down to the alpha original purchasers of CoSy, but so let me just click this which has got this was my view. I mean, my view now here is Pikes Peak, but my view in New York was the Brooklyn Bridge, and over here is East River, and there's when I ran against Gerald Nadler. Um, and this was my reaction in K to where the World Trade Centers used to be, and these were my windows in a 42 pec slip. So whenever you've seen this sort of a view of Manhattan, that's where I was. Then this is where I moved here, but CoSy's a product of always having a great view. And I'll get back actually to CoSy. Its origins, as I think I mentioned earlier, is I was in grad school in visual psychophysics. And so I was trying to figure out how brains work. And in the mid 70s, by the mid 70s, I did a decade in grad school, but in the mid 70s, the computer center got APL on the CDC 6400, and I was working in the lab on a PDP-8i, which later gave me, when I learned of Forth, I appreciated what the hell incredible level of simplicity it is. And but I learned APL to understand the math of well, if you've got 250,000 fibers going up each optic nerve. But it isn't just that; it ends up being the mathematics of associative memory and pattern discrimination, which of course now underlies AI. So that's the thing. The math that I learned and the insights that I got on in terms of its psychophysical thresholds and so forth. It's multidimensional statistics. In any case, that caused me to be pulled east. And when the original Tron came out, I mean, I can remember these guys from the computing center told me if I'm into APL, I should learn this language Forth. And I saw this language which was incredibly simple. So a main point of CoSy is here's this is CoSy in one page. And it really is a word is any non-blank string of characters. Space is the prime delimiter. Words pass information to each other by pushing it or why is that not? Come on, click. Why? That's true. Anyway, yeah, pass information on or off the stack. The syntax is noun, noun, verb, aka RPM. And here you get in the sense to the CoSy level. A noun is a word which takes nothing off of the stack, just puts something on it. A verb is a word which either does some other operation, that the intransitive verb, I just come up with the notion of without touching the stack, or one that takes one or more items off of the stack and generally returns a result to the stack. But note, a verb can look forward in the sentence it is on. And that, of course, is, well, actually, I use this tick, this left tick a lot to go and return the non-blank string as a string. The next word is a string. And the other one, which I describe as Chuck Moore's brilliant quote, this quote returns the address of the following word rather than executing it. And that is such brilliant simplicity. This is the thing that gets me about the mass of programming languages between APL and actually simplified by Arthur Whitney and Kay. But this is actually, in a sense, one of the competitors that's been pointed out to CoSy, this notion, I guess it is sort of based on Smalltalk, which has an awful lot of notions come from Smalltalk. But the thing is, even those, you're at this level of abstraction that doesn't go all the way down to the hardware. You got this mystic horizon. And you've got this in general in other languages, but not in Forth. I mean, Forth even goes and again, it factors the notion of compilation. Let me just continue. Yeah, note this just, and it is this fact that you can go and pass the name of the next word rather than executing it that allows that word to be a parameter to a following verb and gives you the power of an APL of the we'll get back to that combined with, and they'll go and re-emphasize it because this is the header. You go grab something off of a an address where you expect to see is the first cell, or at least the first item is the type, and then the count, how many of them you've got, and then ref count goes and follows, is anything referring to me? And when it returns to 0, it's released. So this is the core of the dynamic. And type 0 means it's a list of these things. Okay, so it's trees or bushes, and the verbs. Where do I get to? The verbs. A lot of verbs go and they execute on the leaves of trees, or on parallel matching leaves of trees. And so you type F6 instead of enter on any line, and the computer will try to execute it after saving everything. And one of the comments notes that I made earlier, a lesson from Apollo 11. And this is the thing, is when anything can blow away, you type 0 on a line in CoSy and F6 it'll blow things away. But the Apollo 11 landing computer had the same problem, and one of the rules, two rules, and there's stuff on a note on CoSy about this. But one is to work in a high-level language. Although this was just an incredibly minimal late 60s portable computer, um, it had matrix mathematics because, of course, they were computing their descent to the moon. But the other thing was restart on failure. So, I mean, it's such an existential thing. So I gave up trying to figure out where all the bugs may happen in CoSy, and it's just restart on failure. But do a save before you try to do anything. And the other thing is actually the timestamp goes and puts down the timestamp in the log and then does the save. So you've got timestamp, And one of the things is one of the last times that maybe the last time I was out there for fourth day actually was a decade ago. And so it came up the last time about what's his name? I forget to go look at the notes, but a guy who invented C regular expressions was time. Anyway, let me not run out of time. Oh, okay. One of the things that actually has come up, and because you can go and pass a verb on to a following verb or adverb is what Ken Iverson would call it. You can there are a bunch of iterators, and notice this is a comment. I guy who's an editor at Electronic Design suggested GitHub to me, and I got Hub for a while, but it's just too damn complicated. All of the code in CoSy is just in an open directory. Let me go. Yeah, here are all the scripts that make CoSy, and let me let me see. As far as I mean, I don't have time for GitHub. Have I covered everything that I need to with respect to simplicity? Because I mean, this is all of CoSy, and the thing is that this is executes directly in Open Riva Forth, which is an x86 Forth. But one of the other things that really works and it keeps things from ever getting out of range or anything like that is all the indexing is modulo. So you actually are working on rings of rings of rings. And then here's how you define a name, make a word. Yeah. And this is one of the things is there's an extensive vocabulary. Let me come over here where I can actually execute things. And it's taking simplicity to the extremes. I've been accused of it, but the same is true of both Ken Iverson and Chuck. I mean, Chuck, I even got a quote from him that he admits it. What was I going to say? Is it all words? Well, let me go and this is the thing is there are it's a human level vocabulary, so you got lots of words and specific. And this last window, this three window structure where you have log, you've got result, and you've got sort of a lot of useful phrases because every one of these phrases is equivalent to a menu choice, but where you can edit it. All words. Okay, I wasn't sure how I'd capitalized it, but there are 2,448 words, all the way up from the x86 vocabulary to all of the words you see me generally execute. And one of the points is they need to be able to be searched. Like, for instance, I see there are all the words that convert to and from character separated variables, which is the most common, form of, well, if you do any accounting work at all, you know what a CSV file is. It's a standard format, and it's a rectangular array. I mean, you split it on its on its things, and so much of the vocabulary. That's the upper level vocabulary. Above, sort of applied APL, if you will. And one of the things is, and let me go back to the thing, because I wanted to add Chat GPT and Grok. They really have an excellent understanding of, or I really like their blurbs. Okay. Because they know the two ends of the spectrum. I mean, to go to even this Techie Cups meeting and ask people if they know APL, and they've got computer science degrees, but they've never heard of APL or K or Forth, or they may have heard of one but not the other. But the AIs know the whole spectrum. So anyway, let me get down to okay, the code is downloadable, freely downloadable, but you run into this problem that you get a false alarm from the Riva Forth on x86, and that's a pain in the ass to take care of, and so forth. My bet is, I don't know why I would actually have okay, well, it says, download it. And so if you're techie and so forth, you do that. But one of the things I'm going back to, I made a number of years ago, and 8 megabyte, 8 megabytes, which is now it's 128 megabytes, but got that for now, because one of these humans that I got down to, the guy who's the executive director at this XI, he actually gave me a copy of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, to actually have business. But the other thing, and this is actually a picture of the box that now is connected to my 4K screen here. But CoSy's now, there it is, up front. Need to get cash flow to create a computing language pool. I mean, this is the thing, is there has to be a cash flowing component to it. But most fundamentally, you have to create a language pool. And this is anybody who, when they see this, goes and continues using Python, rather than pushing forward, essentially the alternative to the entire mainstream structure, going and having it all the way down to the fact that compiling has been factored into maybe a minimal vocabulary of 30 definitions in what even is a minimal processor. And the thing is, at this level, at the CoSy level, the notation is intrinsically parallel. And the only way you can, usefully, you have to have, Forth is this thing that is between, making it the shortest path from the chip to the math, and to all the stuff here. A lot of this goes through CoSy, my editing window, to both ways. But one of the things to point out, okay, I'll skip. It needs investment. These notion, which has been pointed out to me as something that by women as okay, this is in a sense your realistic competition. Notion and Evernote, and again, all of you out there in the Valley appreciate what the scale of the investments in those companies are. But we talk, that's for somebody who's interested. But one of the things that in 1984, a guy went and Marvin Markowitz pulled me down from where Xerox pulled me east, and Marvin Markowitz. This gets into the old history. The original CoSys, but he pulled me down to New York with a similar sort of notion of being an executive secretary environment. He'd had an accounting company in APL, but that's what sucked me down to New York, and I did 20 years there before switching my view for here. Anyway, if you look at my customers there, and CoSy was bundled. This is the thing. These are having CoSy bundled, so it's just zipless. And if anybody knows Erica Jong's Fair Flying, they might get that. The point is to make starting up zipless, and getting around some of these things with a false alarm on bugs. But the original, in 1985, CoSy was bundled on a KPro 2000 notebook, which if you go to that page that was just up, you'll see that. But one of the first of them was a senior vice president at Citibank and the head of mergers. You look at these. Actually, it was the head of Fila Sportswear from Brazil who introduced me to the senior vice president of Citibank, who had the Credenza computer that Citibank supplied, but for just doing everyday stuff and got CoSy. And again, the Alberto Pocantesta, the head of Fila. But Brazil would keep changing its currencies. So, to keep up with the currency changes when you're running a company in Brazil in the 80s. And Wyatt T. Walker was pastor Canaan Baptist Church. And one of the things is most of this crew down here that I had were all, I'll use the term Negro because I think it's a term, that can be a discussion. But I really hate the fact that the vocabulary got boulderized down to just black and white. I got friends of all sorts of shades. Anyway, Wyatt Walker, might as well click on that. Was I don't know whether his pictures is visible there, but yeah, he had this big church on 116th Street, and you also see he was founder of Freedom National Bank up in Harlem, and he served as chief of staff to Martin Luther King and to Jesse Jackson, which was why he got CoSy to start putting in his phone numbers, because one of the things at that time, put your cursor on one of the keys was put your cursor on a phone number in your notes and click it and it do the dialing for you. Another one was another guy at the accounting firm. Mike Denard, who actually made a nice big poster of my N cube, which I did in APL in 1979. I mentioned him. And Gary Venter was actually the main guy who was really techie. And he hasn't updated his site to HTTPS apparently. But he's an actuary that actually ran Employment Compensation Reinsurance Bureau, and I never heard the word reinsurance before I moved to New York. But the whole point of this is that here CoSy, this is why it's reasonable to say that it's one language for the rest of your life, because it openly expands from the chip to the math. And it's very much oriented to doing the everyday business of life. I mean, accounting and so forth is perhaps the ultimate of those. It's just inescapable. But I wanted to finally finish off. Yeah, it really is interesting the extent to which these AIs have the breadth of knowledge. And there's I heard a guy asked I guess it was ending up going to ChatGPT to have a voice go and describe CoSy to him. And one of the things is also CoSy will be extremely easy for any AI to construct code in. Because again, it can handle a vocabulary of 2,300 words, pick out the word that's appropriate, put together a sentence. This is one of the things actually that there was a point earlier, and I think this was true for both Chuck and Ken Iverson, is they required an interactive environment. And this is the thing, is to go and do, the rate at which you can do things when you can write things down in a line, and then have those lines around to execute. And I mean, this is one of the things I made a point that because of this, here's the whole another those points, but and iterators, these iterators are the things that go and say, do it on these pairs of words or do it across this list. I mean, again, it's that sort of geometric sort of a thing. And one of those iterators is apply it to all the leaves of trees. Recursive, that's just the vocabulary that matters. And yeah, this spans, leapfrogs all the stuff in the middle. And because your notes are in the language itself, an awful lot of things I do are just short scripts. Do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. I mean, and this immediate interactive thing is one of the three things, the levels of the language or the other two, that are important. Yeah, and by the way, this is an old notion. N minds are the square root of n better than 2. That's a little bit of geometric thinking of independent minds. And one of the things about CoSy is the fact is that it fits more or less in my head. I mean, mainly actually over here because well, on the fourth end, there's just an infinite tree. On the math, that's getting it down to just a 3-cell header, a 3-item header. But that's it's as future math.
Did you hear me, Bob?
Okay, last click. Yes.
Could you think about wrapping it up?
Yeah, I'll do this. I'll just end right here, because we are right here. And this was from this time. Feedback me, Seymour, and this will go and either tell me you're sold, you want more info, or you lost it. Where did I lose you? And that's it. So let me.
If I wanted to play with CoSy a little, is there like a student version or a free trial or anything like that?
Download. Yeah. It's download. Go to code, and here it is, and here's the instructions. And a guy named a guy I met. I thought I'd put his name actually down here somewhere, or it's out of my stack. But just last week, he's apparently, I think, in warehouse automation. But we got talking at this XI thing, and he downloaded CoSy, and there was a glitch. Oh, matter of fact, I found it was an old script. One of the scripts was not up to date, but he got it downloaded and successfully is running it. So
So, Bob,
I don't
Sure.
know. I want to find out.
what I want to know is, um, if I wanted to learn your language, how would I do it?
You get in touch with Bob offline.
Is there a dummies book?
Actually, if if you go down, if you go to CoSy.com and you scroll down, you'll actually see, first of all, a silent the screen that comes up actually says here, hit F12 to put down a date line, and then hit F11 to save put down a timestamp and save everything, and from there on you're going, and it's interactive. You scroll down well, you can look at the silent one, but then the other thing is at this point in time,
Go to CoSy.com and scroll down.
I have no. Real quick, just one more quick question. My vision is to be in like Visual Studio integrated development environment, and I take my mouse and I hover it above one of the keywords in CoSy, and it tells me what that word is, because CoSy is based upon APL, which is sort of cryptic, right?
Stop talking.
in
Stop talking. Stop talking. Okay. The line is, the way you get started with CoSy is you contact Bob, because that's really what's necessary. And
yes,
we're
thank
grateful
me.
to Bob for presenting, but he should stop talking now. Don't make me have to mute you. Greg,